Welcome back, learner. Today's deep dive is, well, it's kind of a rescue mission.
Yeah, definitely a rescue mission.
Right, because we are looking at this incredibly dense, highly technical product page from HDTV Supply. It's for this $837 black box called the ZeeVee Z4KENCF3XS ZyPer4K-XS encoder fiber.
Try saying that 5 times fast.
Honestly, I can't even say it once without stumbling. But our goal here is to extract the secret tech magic that actually powers those massive crystal clear screens you see out in the wild, like in airports or stadiums.
Exactly. The stuff you never really think about but is always running.
Yeah. But before my eyes completely glaze over from that alphabet soup of a product name, I have to ask, why should you or I or the learner care at all about an $837 fiber encoder?
Well, you should care because this little box, it exposes the hidden infrastructure of massive scale. Consumer tech usually compromises. It compresses data to fit into smaller pipes like your home Wi-Fi.
Like buffering and all that.
Exactly. But institutional tech takes a totally different approach. It builds a massive, secure, physical pipe, so data doesn't have to be compressed at all.
Wait, no compression at all?
None. It achieves basically the holy grail of AV tech, which is perfect, uncompressed 4K video at 60 Hz. And it does it with 0 frame latency over an IP network.
Okay, 0 frame latency. Let's ground that a bit. Standard video streaming at home is almost like taking a car apart, mailing it in hundreds of small boxes, and rebuilding it at your house. It takes time.
Right, which is why there's always a delay.
Yeah, exactly. But this 0 frame latency with heavy, uncompressed HDMI 2.0 video, I mean, that's like building a private 10-lane highway so the fully assembled car can just drive straight to your TV at like 200 miles an hour.
That is a great way to put it. And it's not just video, it's moving up to 8 channels of digital audio right alongside it.
Oh, wow. So it's basically instantaneous teleportation for huge amounts of data.
Yeah, it really is. Just to put it in perspective, 60 frames a second of uncompressed 4K is literally billions of pixels per second.
Billions.
Billions, yeah. If you tried to shove that through your standard home Wi-Fi router, the network would just instantly choke.
So what's the catch then? How does it handle all that traffic?
Well, that's the thing. To avoid a massive data traffic jam, this device physically requires a dedicated 10 gigabit fiber optic network. You can't just plug this into your home setup.
Okay, so it's one thing to have that instantaneous speed across, say, a living room, but the real engineering bottleneck has to be maintaining that massive data flow over long distances, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's where the specs get really crazy. It pushes a pristine signal 300 meters on a multi-mode fiber line.
300 meters is pretty far.
It is. But if you switch to a single-mode fiber line, which shoots just a single focused beam of light straight down the pipe so the signal doesn't bounce around, it can travel a staggering 10 kilometers.
Wait, 10 kilometers?
Yeah.
Without losing quality?
0 loss in quality. And at the end of that 10 kilometers, it can support these massive 15 by 15 video walls. It can even juggle up to 19 different multi-view sources all at once.
Okay, I have to push back here for a second. 10 kilometers feels completely over-engineered. I totally get why a huge sports bar needs an encoder for 15 giant screens, but who on earth is running a 10-kilometer cable for a TV? Like, is this for James Bond?
It does sound like spy tech, right? But you really hit the nail on the head. If you look at the broader context of the HDTV Supply site, they cater to sports bars, sure, but they also list extensive government purchasing options.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Things like federal GSA schedules and TAA-compliant products. That basically just means the gear is legally approved for U.S. government use.
I see. So when you are routing data across a sprawling military base or a massive international airport terminal, 10 kilometers of distance isn't overkill. It's a structural necessity.
Exactly. And plus, it locks all of that data down with AES 128 encryption.
Right, because if that video feed contains secure government data or, proprietary corporate info, that military-grade encryption makes sure no one can just physically tap into the fiber line halfway down the campus to intercept the signal.
Precisely. Extreme physical distance and strict security aren't just perks for this kind of gear. They are absolute mandates for modern institutional setups.
So the core insight here is really about infrastructure. High-end AV doesn't rely on software tricks to shrink data down. It relies on building massive, instant, secure physical highways to move impossible amounts of information.
Yeah, seamlessly. But, there's a really interesting human element to all this cold, hard tech,
Oh,
too.
definitely. I noticed that too.
Right, because despite selling these intimidating 10-kilometer fiber networks, HDTV Supply actually boasts a 4.7 out of 5 overall customer rating.
Yeah, the reviews in the source material are surprisingly wholesome, honestly. There's one review specifically praising a customer service rep named Rachel.
Oh, the one about the complex order.
Yes, exactly. Rachel apparently caught a problem with how a really complex order was placed and meticulously fixed it before it even shipped.
It's just a great reminder. I mean, we can build devices that transmit uncompressed video at the speed of light, but you still need a human being to make sure the right box actually gets to the right person.
Yeah, even the most advanced 10 gigabit highway needs a human touch to work in the real world.
Absolutely.
It leaves you wondering, though, next time you walk past a massive, flawless video wall in an airport or a city center, think about the invisible network of encoders working silently behind the scenes. As our screens get larger and our data gets astronomically heavier, will these hidden fiber optic networks eventually become just as critical to everyday city infrastructure as our power lines and water pipes? Food for thought. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, learner, and we will see you next time.